So that's from the final season of Superboy from '92, just before Lois and Clark would come on the scene later, right? I like that sort of really. I remember in high school, in my sophomore year, somebody was showing a movie, but the commercial for season 4 came on. We used VHS tapes, ladies and gents and others. Really was. So here's another Drake pod. This is this week marks 30 years since I collected comic books. Now, my youngest sister, who just turned 52, she collected Batman comics in her youth. I'm not sure if she collected. She might have collected other comic books too. Spider-Man, Battlestar Galactica, the comic book from the early '80s, right? And Warlord, different things. I remember seeing a couple of comic books at a doctor's office back in the '80s. But when Superman died, I, like every other opportunist, went out there to go collect comic books. Now, what you are seeing here are the issues that adorned Frank's Comic Castle that was on it was on Atlantic Boulevard and Cesar Chavez, formerly Brooklyn Avenue. So it was on Brooklyn Avenue and Atlantic in, I'm guessing, is April 1993. We had Frank's Comic Castle. We had another comic book store. We had like 5, 10 comic book stores. When Superman died, I really think that brought about, it was like a roller coaster. So imagine that, we'll use the Robin cycle here. It was like the comic books went up in popularity, and there were all kinds. There was, Spawn, Todd McFarlane, who makes our DC toys. Funny, right? I'm still waiting on that Batman versus Spawn crossover two player set there. Where is it, Todd? Where is it? So imagine all between the Spawns and the Cyberforce and the Wildcats and Gen 13 and Malibu, the Vampirella, the Lady Death, kind of the big boob, slightly pornographic heroines, Evangeline, Darkchild, and some of the Dark Horse comic books, and Superman and Marvel's Spider-Man, Maximum Carnage. All that stuff. Comic books really were taken on a high, and then came the crash. But at the time, before the mid '90s, everybody had to get everything, right? So my mom would ask if the death of Superman was there. The death of Superman, by the time I started collecting these comic books, was worth $25, $20 to $25. It was up in price. Now, I mean, if you find it, maybe it's worth more, but not way more. I mean, I would say no more than $100, because really, it's not. I mean, he obviously fucking came back, right? He fucked off for about a year and came back. Now, what you're looking at here are the four, and these make great newsstand decorations? I mean, they just do. I'll show you the individual issues. We'll kind of flip through them, but this is the first one here. Now, this was actually coming out. Right now, the state of comic books is we have digital, we have e-comics, we have Kindle and Comixology. We have new people in charge. Comic books are woke or not. Remember, what is his name? Eric July said, how dare they make 26 variants of Superman 1 for 2023? Eric, if you had that money, you'd do the same. Woke or not, you'd do the same thing. So shut up about that. Make your comic books, make your money, just like everybody else. But anyway. But at the current state, we had comic books like Superman, the Son of Kal-El, which was woke. And they canceled that. They're making a new series for John Kent. We still have Action Comics, well past 1,000 issues, going into 1,100 issues. And that's about it. But when I was a kid, when I was about 14, going on, actually about 15, when I started collecting these, I remember my dad drank for the last time. He abused me. That was later on, the summer of '93. He drank for most of my childhood, but I was just thinking about right now how another YouTuber was like watching Peanuts and how the Peanuts characters have these black guys talking shit, right? My nigga, yeah, what's up, my nigga? It's like, this kind of nonsense. And but they put the voices on top of they dub the Peanuts cartoons like this, and they're all talking shit, toilet humor. I'm like, I didn't find it funny because I was thinking that between Superman and the Peanuts and Garfield that was on CBS in the I'd like to have a part of my childhood that's innocent. Now, I mean, the Family Guy thing where Peter Griffin punches Lucy in the face for taking the football away, that's funny. That's satire. That's good satire. Putting black characters over the Peanuts voices doesn't work. Anyway, I'm trailing off. Let's look at Action Comics. Every week, every week you get a new comic book. So Action Comics, Man of Steel, Superman, Adventures of Superman. Every month you get these 4 issues. Now there were bye weeks, meaning that you would have a week where you didn't have. I think it was like 4 times a year. So for about, I think it was like a year and a half, they had Superman, the Man of Tomorrow, and that was like a Lex Luthor kind of thing going on. The first issue had like Lex Luthor in '95, and then uh, hold on here. Ah, hygiene is important. So I think it ended with I'm not sure if it was the Supernatural. Anyway, here is the Last Son of Krypton. Now they not only did they have a week of Superman, right? But at this time, they had gimmick issues. Now, when we think of variant covers, we think of alternate art. We think of uh, pencil sketch, a plain white cover, plain black cover. Like, everybody has to collect these variants. And I do agree with Eric July. They make 26 variants of Superman 1. That's a gimmick. But when I was a kid, they would have foil covers, holographic covers, lenticular covers, translucent covers, color forms. Do I have that issue? Me looking for something and never finding it. I don't see it in my immediate sight, but some covers would have color form stickers. So you take off the stickers and you rearrange them however you want to decorate the cover. But 30 years ago, almost exactly 30 years ago this week, I would get these kinds of comic books. So this is when I started. And so this is a special kind of a cut, sort of a cut, etch cover. So you see, this is, of course, the Eradicator. At the time, though, we didn't know who the real Superman was. There was a battle. So there was a battle between Superman and the Eradicator with Professor Hamilton looking on. And this is all about Krypton and the Fortress of Solitude. Now they would say, oh, there was a battle. Oh, yeah, the battle between Superman and Doomsday. But Roger Stern knew better. Roger Stern knew what he was doing. So here he's messing with Superman's body at his memorial. This is the original Superman memorial before Zack Snyder had done his version. And so the art here is really fantastic. I think this is not Roger Stern's pencils. This is, whose pencils is this? Who's doing the penciling here? Artists. Yeah, Geis and Rodier, right. So Geis and Rodier had done this sort of very mature, very real life, kind of almost like a soap opera. There's a soap opera type comic strip in the Sunday Funnies, which is more like, it's the comic book equivalent of a soap opera, that kind of art. And so you see that this Superman has a weird costume, and also he can't see. He's almost like Dracula in that he can't see in the light. He has to have visors on. So this is the gimmick, and he has these burning hands, and he can punish people. So it was when I saw the Adventures of Superman 500. That's when they revealed all these guys. But by the time I started collecting comic books, it was these 4 issues that was drawn to me. And so we got this one. Oh, that's what Supergirl looked great. She looked great. She showed you all. She was not afraid to show all. Um, and she looked fantastic. She looked absolutely dashing and fantastic. This is where Lois and the Eradicator have a conversation, and he's distant from her. And here you'd see all the previews for all the issues. Take 1, take 2, take no, buy all 3, and then 2 weeks. So what had happened was the reason why there's such a, because these ones came out at these 4 issues came out at the same exact time. There was a long period, about a month or two, in between Superman 78 or 77. No, this is, let me see. This is 78. 77 was Jonathan Kent going to join Superman into heaven or hell or wherever they were. And it's me, Pa. Don't be afraid. So Jonathan Kent takes Superman's hand, and that's sort of the season finale of Superman. But, as you know, comic books magazines don't take a break. They keep going. They just keep going. I mean, you may see season finales come and go and premieres like on the CW and other shows, but when it comes to this stuff, you're really paying attention. So let's take a look at this one. I think you know what this one is, because this is the first full appearance of Steel. This is another die-cut cover. This is Man of Steel 13, which ended its run somewhere in the late 2000s, I think. Sometime after Final Crisis. There is John Henry Irons. And this is Simonson writing, I think, Bog, and Jank doing the art. I like this. Now, ever since the first issue, the art was always like this. What I liked about it, these days we're more politically correct. There shouldn't be black gangs except for good reasons. And, it seems racist now to have black gangs, unless it's a black gang. Unless it's, Spike Lee with his production company making movies like this. Just nobody would do this, right? Nobody. White people are like, oh no, we shouldn't touch this stuff. Look at the violence. There's so much violence in this, and I thought maybe I opened my big mouth back in high school and said maybe Shaquille O'Neal should be Steel, and I got my wish, didn't I? So a few years later, and it was not a very good movie, but it was funny to see it, because I generally enjoy that movie for the camp. So the art is very ghetto. That's what I like about it. It's very ghetto. It's very stylized. Static Shock would work pretty well here. Basically, John Henry Irons is the guy that saved a worker, but John Henry Irons himself was in trouble, and Superman saved his life. I owe you my life, then make it count for something. And that's how he remembered. So he was one of the construction workers when Doomsday was fighting Superman. So it was up to John Henry Irons. That's why when I saw the actor playing Lex Luthor, the Black Lex Luthor in Superman and Lois, everybody used to, oh my God, it's John Henry Irons. They revealed his name. Oh my God, this is shocking. Poppy knew the entire time. Well, actually, Poppy knew the second episode. The first episode, I was not sure, but the second episode, the minute I started to see black dude in metal suit, I'm like, let me think back. While that stupid music is going on for Easter. Hope you're all having a good Easter. So he puts on the damn suit. And that's it. That's him in the Man of Steel. This is the original suit. It's changed a lot over the years. There's Rose the Psychic. I don't know if she... Well, Rose Psychic, that's Dr. Occult's wife. And there is Lois. What an amazing shot. There's a scene that happens later on in the other issues where it's like, why do you think you're Superman? And John Henry Irons tells her, I never said I was Superman, if you'll excuse me. So he never claims this, right? It's an amazing shot. This was 93, everyone. 1993. We got all the other ones. Here is, this is Jeb. This is the guy that loved Lois. He dies later on, but what an asshole. Every time I turn on the TV, there's another Superman sightings. Yeah, it's like, this is when Lex Luthor assumed to be his own son, Australian, and he was revealed later on in the not the Clone Wars, but the Battle for Metropolis when the clones were dying. And Yeah, I went to private school, learning like how to build electronic circuits and alternating current, direct current, and all that stuff. Oh yeah, this is gets violent. So the backstory is that John Henry Irons worked for the military, made mistakes, and then his weapons were used for war on the streets. I have not seen White Rabbit. Is she gonna be in? Is she gonna be in Superman and Lois? What's going on with this? Is White Rabbit gonna be in Superman and Lois? Why is she not in Superman and Lois? The White Rabbit, I always think, should be the main nemesis of Steel. Anyway, that's this one here. What is he saying? Yeah. Oh yeah. He wants to talk to the man. He never does. He never does talk to John Henry Irons. Though there have been more stories that, like in the animated series, that John Henry Irons, voiced by Michael Dorn, worked for LexCorp. And it's like, not anymore. I don't trust you. Now this one here, I think everybody should know what this one is. This one dealing with the cyborg. Not uh, not Victor Stone, but Henry. Was it Hank Henshaw? Yeah. And this is done by Dan Jurgens and Brett Breeding. They were the artists who killed off Superman, artists and writers. Of course, this is all about not seeing his face. It gets really personal because this one you think maybe Superman turned into a robot. Maybe he really did. He has changed. But look at this. It's fantastic stuff here. And yeah, all these issues came out at the same time. This is where we see the big reveal. I've come back, Harper. I am different due to the damage, but it's me. I am Superman. What an amazing shot! This is the '90s. They took all kinds of risks. Here are all these connectors. Look at the '90s. Look at this '90s stuff. Look at this. They pulled no punches. None. None. And this was a Bill Clinton era. They didn't care. So he's trying to take Doomsday. He takes Doomsday to outer space. This eventually leads to another storyline that you wouldn't see for about another year or so. I mean, it felt like it was happening over years because to a child, 5 minutes is 5 hours. It felt like longer than that. But eventually, Doomsday would come back. Then Doomsday would come back again. And how many times have we seen Doomsday? Doomsday is oversaturated now. I mean, honestly, it's like you see so much of my memory gone, but there's just something not right. It's just Hank Henshaw just fucking with Lois because he knows he's going to destroy one city. He's just going to go out and kill Superman, right? He lost his wife. He lost everything. They show you the next issue here. Fantastic stuff. And finally, we'll get to the Superboy issue, as we should. And these were the issues I collected. All of these. Let's see. Now, this marks the first appearance, or the second appearance, of Connor Kent. I still remember that story where Joe Shuster, Jerry Siegel came home from the war, and Jerry Siegel, hey, by the way, they took your Superboy idea without asking you? Like, really? Is that what they did? So here is the Superboy. This is done by Kessel, I think. Let me see who did the writing and art exactly, because I always get confused on this. So we got notifications up the ass. And I love this. I love this shot. You can't get away with this shot today. A new kid tries to fill some very big shoes for Tom Grummett, who's the penciler. Tom Grummett does it. Who is writing it? Carl Kessel. So Carl Kessel, and then you got Tom Grummett. You would never get away with this shot today. I love this shot so much. It's like, well, I had no choice. I had to grab you while I'm stopping the car. Technically it's okay. So yeah, he's always going after the girls. That's why I think it's like, okay, he got lots better. He got way better. There is no way. I mean, this kind of stuff you after the Me Too era, you just wouldn't get away with any of this. None of this. Zero. We introduced Crypto, which is an ordinary dog. I'm not sure if Crypto got powers. Um, so you got Crypto here. You got, it's like I like that there's just four distinct personalities here. And there he is again, beating up. He's beating up on Jimmy. Don't call him Superboy. He's Superman. This is introducing Tana Moon. I think Tana died. I'm pretty sure they went to Hawaii. Tana died. And Carl Kessel, or is it Grummett? They know how to draw these women. And there was sexual harassment going on with Vincent Edge, and Morgan Edge is the son. And let's take a look here. Of course, here we go. Another shot. Another fantastic shot here. That is fantastic. I mean, there's just... So he's going after a villain nobody really cares about. You got some women here. So he's always charming the women. He grows up a bit. I mean, I like the story. There's a story where Superboy goes to the Kent's farmhouse, and Superman's just bitter, but he learns to relax. Because what Martha tells Clark is that this boy has no guidance. He has no proper parents. He has nobody. So Superman, I mean, Clark eventually kind of lets up and lets him follow him around. And, if you don't learn from so how do you become a better person? And that was in 1999. So a lot had changed. And I like the Superboy, Steel, Supergirl team up. That really worked out. A lot had changed. So much has changed. He had gotten his powers, but Clark didn't get his powers until he was 15. So, actually, no. That was something else. I'm sorry. Let me see. I know he said that before. Yeah. Oh, we never raised a kid. Yeah. So they eventually warm up to Connor Kent. I'm just looking at stuff. I have not seen these comic books in over a decade, maybe 15, 20 years. I haven't really looked at them. Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, he's just waiting to get at Tana Moon. That's just so terrible. And here's a great shot with Supergirl. What a fantastic shot that is. That is Adventures of Superman 501. So these are the four main issues that I have. And I wanted to walk you down that 90s memory lane of what it was like. That's why, there's so little surprises. I do want to see better Superman stories. I don't think we need another new Superman. Something what I'm doing is pretty good. I mean, just picture the art you see at the end of Into the Spider-Verse with bright lights against dark with, Spider-Man 2099, but with Superman Cyberpunk's, Tron world. And that would have worked. That would have been Henry Cavill's Exodus. That would have been his exit. It would have worked. But these are the four issues. And I'm mostly retired from collecting new issues. There's going to be something that's going to get my attention, and I will take a look at it. After that, I just don't give a shit. I have enough comic books. If I go see a movie, I go see a movie. If I go see something else, I may see Renfield with Nicolas Cage. Just see something else. I'm always exploring. Never stop exploring. Never stop learning. If you like what you see, if this is good enough for you, see those buttons below. You know what to do. And here's to another 30, I think.